You said you act as if God exists. Do you also act as if the devil exists? Man, I think I probably act even more as if the devil exists. It's easier for me to believe in the reality of malevolence and evil and to be terrified about that getting a grip on me than it is to be optimistic and naive about the possibility of transcendent good. It's not that I am skeptical about the reality of transcendent good. I mean, fundamentally, I believe that good is more powerful than evil. I do believe that. But there's something palpable about evil that's also undeniable. It's like, well, you can debate about whether or not heaven exists, and you can even be skeptical, but you can't debate about whether the Gulag Archipelago existed, and you can't debate about Auschwitz, and you can't debate about the fact that people's proclivity towards blindness and malevolence produced those horrors, and the horrors that people often encounter in their day-to-day world.
You could think of the how someone could be murdered, and that's how these 3 children died.
No family should have to go through this. Unfortunately, it's going to happen again somewhere. Another town. It's going to happen again, I'm sure.
The moment they told me Stephen was dead, I really lost all touch of reality.
paper, 17-year-old Jesse Miskelly allegedly confesses to watching two other suspects choke, rape, and sexually mutilate three West Memphis second graders. Jenna Newton reports.
According to the published report, Miskelly told police he watched 18-year-old Damian Eccles and 16-year-old Jason Baldwin brutalize the children with a club and a knife. The report says Miskelly told police Eccles and Baldwin raped one of the boys and sexually mutilated another as part of a cult ritual. Miskelly is quoted as saying he did not take part in the rape and mutilation, but that he helped subdue one victim who tried to escape.
And my dad said, sure, you can talk to him. So I got in a cop car with him, and we rode to West Memphis. My gal asked me, would it be nice if I knew who done it? That way I could buy my dad a truck. Because at the time, I think the reward was like $30,000. I said, yes, I can use that, that money, the reward money. But I didn't know who done it, though. They just asked me who did it, and I didn't know who did it. The police kept on asking me who did it, and I told them I didn't know, which I didn't know. I told the police where I was at that day. I was in Dallas, Arkansas, harassment, which I was. I don't like people asking me and asking me and asking me. I'm gonna tell you one time, and you just egg it on, then I'm gonna just say something, just leave me alone. That's what I did. They just egged it on, and finally I just told the cops, look, all right, I did it. I killed him and everything.
It's a triple homicide, case file number 9305-0666. Currently in the office with Jesse Lloyd Miskelly Jr. What occurred while you were there?
When I was there, I saw Damien hit this one boy real bad. Then he started screwing him and stuff.
All right, you've got in front of you a picture that was taken out of the newspaper, I believe. It's got three boys, and these are the three boys that were killed on that date in Robin Hood Woods. Which one of those three boys is it you say Damien hit? The third picture, which will be...
This boy right here?
Yeah.
All right, that's the Byers boy.
Christopher.
That's who you're pointing at?
So, you saw Damien strike Chris Byers in the head.
Right.
What did he hit him with?
He hit him with his fist and bruised him all up real bad. Jason turned around and hit Steve Branch.
Okay.
And started doing the same thing. Then the other one took off. Michael Moore took off running. So I chased him and grabbed him and held him till they got...
Out of the 100 or more people that y'all talked to, are you aware of anybody other than the defendant who told you one of the victims that had their genitals removed, and one of them had cuts to the side of the face, and there'd been some grabbing of the ears?
There was no one else that mentioned those particular injuries, and you yourself, Mr. Fogelman, you're pointing to the wrong side of the cheek.
Oh. Inspector Gitchell, let's talk about the things that Jesse told you that are just absolutely incorrect. Now, on page 9 of his statement, Inspector Gitchell, Jesse says that the murders took place around noon. How did you know that was incorrect?
Because the young boys were still in school.
Did at any time when he was telling you these things that you knew were incorrect, did it ever occur to you that what he was telling you was false, his entire story was false?
In Jesse's case, I feel like he did tell us a good bit of the truth, but then they also lessen their activity in a statement. That's just common, at least in my 20 years career.
This program is designed to help law enforcement officers better understand satanic cults.
In the neighborhood, rumors begin.
Well, I've heard things before about cults, and I really didn't believe it, but some of the kids in the neighborhood I've talked to said there is. They've found some animals back there. When they play back there, it looks like they've been cut up.
He had told us that he had attended some satanic cult type meetings, that boys along with girls would attend. There would be sessions of sex, orgies, as he called them, that dogs and animals had been killed, and in fact those animals, portions of them, have been eaten by the members.
Don't worship the devil or anything like that. Worship God, you know, like every normal person is around here does.
Joni Dwyer lives next door to Jason Baldwin. Her 3 boys often played with Jason, but that all changed after her husband found some drawings Jason had done.
My husband just didn't like what he saw in them drawings. He said, you know, he told my son, this is devil worshiping. You know, he had snakes and the sayings they had, some of them were in Latin and stuff.
It appears satanic worship may have played a role in the murders. Since the very beginning of the investigation, people all around West Memphis have come forward with stories of satanic cults.
And he told him that he could not be saved, that he could not give his heart to Jesus. And my youth director then tried to get him to take a Bible, and he made the statement that he could not take a Bible because if he did, the rest of them would get him.
Area had a rumored history of devil worshiping and that type of thing. That was something that people were seeing around the country at this time. In Damien's case, it was the kids that came in and said that they saw him eating the hind quarter of a dog. But the rumors were rampant. The police department asked me to come up with a list of people that we had dealings with in the juvenile department that might have had something to do with this.
Put together a list of people that we had on probation that might be involved in that type of activity. Well, the guy that I knew that was involved the most in it was Damien Eccles. The 2 guys he ran with, Jesse and Jason. Jesse would fight. Jason was not very aggressive in that respect, but I believe he would do anything that Damien asked him to do.
Do you have an opinion as to whether or not there are occult overtones or evidence of occult involvement in these particular murders?
Well, the date being close to Beltane, a holiday, May 1st. Also, the day before that is Walpurgisnacht. Then you go into the fact that some groups, occult cult groups, will use a full moon.
Where before I went into solitary confinement, I had a window in my cell, and whenever the moon was full, I would be able to see it outside, so we would fill up these glasses of water and sit them in the window, catch the moon's reflection in them, and each night after that until the next full moon, we would both take one drink of water out of this glass at the same time every night, so that at least we knew we were both doing the same thing. We were connected in that moment every night.
In several occult books, they will talk about the life force of the blood. Usually the younger the individual, the more pure it is, the more power or the force it has. A lot of times they will take blood and store it for other services and other use, as well as consume it or bathe in it.
The item that's drawn on the front, what is that?
That is a pentagram. That happens to be a Wiccan or white witchcraft pentagram.
All right. Now, if you would open the book to the front page.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, explain what that is.
That's confusion to me.
All right.
And the reason why we got a white witchcraft Wiccan pentagram, then we have upside down crosses, which comes from another type of occultism.
What type of occultism do the upside down crosses
That's black witchcraft.
Is it Wicca, Satanism, or both?
Both.
Okay. And did you notice anything in particular about the book?
There's a chapter in here called Rise of the Devil, and it is underlined in red, and there's a couple sentences in there reference to blood and its life.
In one area, he says he had an opinion for who could have done the murders as being someone sick, and that it was some type of thrill kill. He also stated that the penis was a symbol of power in his religion, known as Wicca. He also stated that the number 3 has a sacred number in the belief.
And did he tell you anything about demonic forces?
Yes, sir. He said that all people have a demonic force in them, and that a person would have no control over that demonic force.
Please state your name for the court.
Damian Wayne Eccles.
Why did you change your name?
I was very involved in the Catholic Church, and we were going over different names of the saints. St. Michael's was where I went to church at. And we heard about this guy from the Hawaiian Islands, Father Damien, that took care of lepers until he finally caught the disease himself and died.
Was that the reason you chose Damien as your first name?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Did the choosing of the name Damien have anything to do with any type of horror movies, Satanism, cultism, any of that nature?
Nothing whatsoever.
Damien, Omen 2.
Tell me about Damien. What sort of a boy is he?
Damien.
I think I did real good the first day. The second day, it didn't look as good because Davis kept trying to trip me up or something.
There was one point in there, though, where he asked you, he says, it looks like you're just changing your story to fit whatever comes up. And you said, yeah.
I was just like halfway listening to him. After I was real nervous when I first got up there, enough to keep my attention focused and everything. But after I was up there a few minutes, just started daydreaming.
Daydream.
Okay. All right. After the time period that you were really into the Catholic religion, did you start focusing in another particular religion?
Wicca.
Wicca.
Don't worship the devil or anything like that. Worship God, you know, like every normal person is around here.
All right. Could you explain to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what some principles about the Wicca religion?
It acknowledges a goddess in a higher regard as a god. It's basically like a close involvement with nature.
Is there a difference between the Wicca religion and witchcraft?
Wicca is also called witchcraft. The word Wicca was bastardized. It originally meant wise one.
People probably think that I'm in Satanism because usually what people don't understand, they try to destroy or ridicule it. Try to make it look bad or wrong.
What you found 3 boys that had been hogtied and thrown in the water. It appeared that they had been sexually mutilated.
While we were in prison, he's been with us every single step of the way since we've gotten out. He's become like a brother to me. And that's one of the things we always do, you know, just as part of that bond, is whenever you get tattoos like that, it's something that both of you carry with you through the rest of your life, and it's really meaningful.
I became convinced of the reality of evil, but also convinced that everyone was destined to play their part in that, including me, and that it would be better if I played the least part in that as possible. You know, and that sort of brings us back to this book. You know, as Solzhenitsyn said, the line that divides good from evil runs down the heart of every individual. Right? It's an internal thing, it's not between states, it's not between groups. It's between elements of our psyche. And our individual responsibility is to work to ameliorate suffering and to constrain malevolence and to start with ourselves.